Check, 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 check. P over there silent like a mother. Ain't saying nothing.
In the building. In the building.
Welcome
Yes,
to the
sir.
Porch Podcast. Welcome to the Porch Podcast. It's your boy, DJE. Okay, I'm going to say it again. It's your boy, DJE. Mr. Influential. And I'm rocking with my brother, Man.
P Original, baby. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. And this is
Absolutely.
episode 131, and we call it Two Places at Once. Two
Absolutely.
Places at
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, kicking it off right from the jump, first and foremost, special edition. You know what I mean? We shooting this show for those who don't know on an off night. It's never off night for us, like me and E say all the time. We only offline. We never offline. We only off
Once.
air.
Whoa.
There you go. Had to get your attention.
Nah, you said you offline. It's okay.
So you know,
Listen, listen,
It's a Monday night edition, baby.
Monday
It's a
night
Monday
edition.
night edition. You know
Listen,
what I
it's the
mean?
mid-year episode. We at the middle of the year. See, people don't understand when you start doing actually what's that? July? That's mid-year. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And when you're dealing with that mid-year, you live in your truths, and you just live in your truth of the fact that you be off lines. You know what I mean? So let's clap it up for P. You know what I mean? Saying that he's off lines.
Take
Shout out to
advantage,
everybody
man.
that's tuned in. Shout out to
Yeah,
everybody that's
shout out
tuned
to
in. Share it
everybody
for
who's
us,
tuned
please.
in.
You
Please,
know,
man. Yeah, you know what I mean. Hey, man, take advantage of the opportunity. I don't mess up much, man. So whenever you get a shot, go ahead and squeeze the trigger and make it happen. You know what I'm
squeeze the
saying?
trigger, make it happen.
Make it happen. That's it. Welcome to episode number 131, y'all. We calling this one Two Places at Once. Talking about two places at once. Before we get deep into the conversation about it, first and foremost, y'all know how we do. We usually start off with saying what's going on. E, what's your week been looking like, brother? How you been?
Busy,
What's been going on? Okay, busy. Ain't nothing wrong with busy.
busy. Went to two funerals Saturday.
Wow.
Had a DJ Friday.
Right.
Regular 9 to 5 the other days. Went back to therapy last Monday. Had a session today, so I've been busy, man. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Absolutely. Ain't nothing wrong with being busy. Me as well, man. The way I look at it, brother. As long as I have a shot at life, I'm winning. I'm above ground. I'm winning. The things that take place in your life, you either gonna learn from them or you're gonna burn from them. So, I ain't burned, so I must be still learning. So I'm good to go.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? I want to throw this out there, man. New concept, y'all. We want to try to kind of use the springboard to get the conversation going. But thought of the day, man.
Thought of the
Thought
day.
of the day. All right. The
Thought of the
thought of the
day.
day today is simple, E. The bad news is that time flies.
Right.
The good news is you're the pilot.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna say it one more time for those in the back who had the volume down low. Turn it up. I said the bad news is that time flies, and the good news is you're the pilot.
So you said the bad news is
Absolutely, is that
okay.
time flies. The good news is you're the pilot.
The bad news is
That's right.
I know what
So,
you're saying. So go
so
ahead. The bad
basically, in a
news
nutshell,
is the
that's
time
right.
flies.
That's right. That's right. Go ahead and kick it. And the good news is you're the pilot. All right.
Yep.
All right. So getting into that, right? That being the thought of the day, y'all.
Is that
Let's,
you?
let's No, that is not me. That is not a self quote. You know what I mean? I can't cite the person. As a matter of fact, actually, my daughter said it to me because I told her about, what the concept of the show was going to be about tonight. And she went right into her little, archive of different quotes that she has. And she said it. She told me the person's name. Shout out to who you are. But I thought that it was fitting for tonight's episode.
Right, it
All
is.
right. So with that being said, I want to add to that. We've covered this on multiple different episodes, y'all, that one of the most valuable things, if not the most valuable thing in life, is time.
Right.
Okay? It's time. And so we talk about time from the perspective of, it being a valuable commodity, right? Tonight's episode being about being in two places at once. Obviously, we're having a conversation about how to maximize your time, or
Right.
how do you handle things when they're going on simultaneously or at the same time.
Right.
So let's get into that. You said that recently, brother. Unfortunately, man, and once again, my condolences. Our condolences go out to both those brothers and their families, man. We already spoke about who they were, but speak briefly, brother. You said you had to attend both of their funerals on Saturday. So you
Right.
literally tried to be two places at once. How did you feel about that, and how did that go?
Okay. I just want to put this back up there so everybody can see it. The bad news is
Right.
time flies. The
That's
good
right.
news is you're the pilot. All right, it's up on the screen for people who may not understand or didn't hear what P said. I put it up there again. All right. So to answer your question, I'm a hell of a pilot.
Okay. Okay. Let's get into that. There you go.
I'm a hell of a pilot.
Okay.
I just knew I can be where I can be when I had to be. I mean, they were basically at the same time, but one had a little hour buffer in between because one viewing was at 10, the other viewing was at 11.
Right.
So it was all about me getting there at the right time. So
Okay.
I got there at a little after 10 for the first one, and I got there a little after 11 for the next one. And then I happened to slide off,
Okay.
because I had to DJ the repass. Me and DJ Venom. Shout out to DJ Venom's. Clap it up for bro. You know,
Absolutely.
uh, and I just enjoyed the day, man. The thing is this: time never stops. Time don't wait, hustle don't stop. So at the end of the
Right.
day, you gonna let it bother you, or you not. And I just
Right.
ain't let it bother me because
Right.
I can't be at two places at one time. I can only get there the way I can get there. So I'm a hell of a pilot, man. That's all it is, bro. You know.
It's that's just one of the things that we talked about, man. We covered a few different things in regards to time, man. Another part of the conversation, without speeding through this, because I think that it is a valuable conversation, is time and place can be explained in different ways. I want to explain places because we talked about two places at once. I want to explain places from the place of not just location, but places like emotionally, where
From
you
the
are
book of
as a person.
Leviticus. That's how you sound like you about to preach a little bit in there.
So, speaking from a place where you're talking about how you are or where you are internally, like where you are in your life, not so much a specific location is a different kind of thought. But when you think about two places at once, you have to cover it,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So, like we talked about, various different things, bruh. Sometimes in relationships, you can be in a physical place together with a person, but you may be in two different places in your life,
Right.
right? Places in regards to seasons, how
Right.
we're growing, what we're looking at, what our objective is. Yeah, we're
Hmm.
on the same team, but sometimes, this one may be a little bit more prepared for adjustments and changes in life versus this one.
Right.
Sometimes you can be in the same place and be in two places at once.
Right.
So I think a lot of times we look at things, we don't do enough deep dives. We do, obviously, do a lot of deep dives, but sometimes I think that we want to live on the surface because it's easy and it's safer up there. But in regardless of life, I think that sometimes we need to look at things a little bit different, a little bit differently, a little bit deeper.
Yeah. Well,
So
it
that's
comes with growth.
it. Oh, absolutely,
It comes with growth.
absolutely.
It's just like this. We live in a time in life where social media is a big deal, and the internet is going to always remain undefeated. You hear me say it all the time. The internet is undefeated, right?
Hmm.
So, with that being said, the video that I was floating around with Fat Joe
Which
when he
one?
said when he was talking about the draft, and he said, you know, I gotta go with Boy, but I like Dick. I like Dick from Kansas. Remember that? Remember when he said that?
I remember you telling me about the story now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
So he put a video up himself saying, "Yeah, I'm too old for that Paul shit, man. The guy's last name is Dick. He played for Kansas, man.
yeah,
What what
yeah.
what, what I was supposed to say? You know what I mean?
Right,
It's
right.
just like right now. It's a video floating around. Over the weekend, Rick Ross was at a pool party. He's supposed to do this dive, And when he went to go bounce, bitch, that knee gave out, and he and he hit the water. Wow. You know what I
Oh
mean?
gosh. Oh
Rick
god.
done undressed it. He turned around and said, "Listen, but y'all have seen the video of me, you know what I mean, doing a dive, and y'all asking me if I'm all right. Nah, I'm not all right. My tire blew out. That's what happened. My tire blew out. You know, I ain't gonna act. I ain't gonna sugarcoat. He said my tire blew out. You know, I went to go. I told you I was gonna do the triple flip flop plat. You know, dive. I ain't even know what that shit was, but I was gonna do it. But my tire blew. Hey, yo, P, I was in tears. But the fact that these grown men is just, hey man, hey, I ain't worried about a dive.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's what
mean?
that's why I'm talking about being in two places at once, right?
Yeah,
Because they hearing it now. But
yeah,
we want to bring them into certain situations. Like in Rick's case, it was different. You know, he blew
yeah,
his knee out. You
yeah.
know, I mean, thank God he was able to make a joke out of it. And it was humorous.
I'm gonna
But
send
Fat
you the
Joe got
video.
on the joint. Yeah, I need that. Fat Joe turned around and flat out said, I'm too grown to be playing pause.
Yeah,
You know, it's part of this different, generation and time, man, that whole game with pause. But my thing about the concept of being in two places at once, we also covered something else, man, that I thought was pretty good. You over there looking at. We also covered something else that you were telling me about, man. I didn't see it, but you told me about it, and I just felt like it was in connection to this. Dealing with the concept of working from home, you were telling me about a lady who has two occupations. Both
right,
of these occupations she do from home. In theory, as far as on a payroll perspective, she's in two places at once.
right.
Now she happens to physically be at home doing these two different things, but
So
she's
she's
existing
technically at
in both
three.
of those places. Technically, yeah. Technically, she's in three. You know what I mean? She's home and she's doing both of these jobs. Me and you started covering the concept of some of these things dealing with this work from home situation, right? Talking about places and things going on at the same time. What's your feeling on the whole concept, man, of working from home? And do you think that there are some things that they changed that could have actually kind of stayed as work from home situations? And do you
Um,
think that there's a reason behind it? Let's get into that as well, because I know you also understand that concept. Or have a point about that.
I can't say there's some things they should have changed, because it's not none's just really jumping out at me. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like I work from home where I'm on a daily basis and actually understand it. But why I think they don't want people to work from home, because I think a lot of things just goes with trust. I
Mm,
think a lot of jobs, man, when you start to get to a certain amount of years and time that you put in and energy, to a certain extent, you're not saying that you just get a pass, but you are, you're a vet. But at the
right.
same time, just like on teams and things that you see on and when it comes to sports and things of that nature, you know, um, they find a way to get maybe show that they don't need you. See, if a person works from home, bro,
Mm-hmm.
they can do that forever. Cause we had this
Definitely.
conversation. Let's just think about like when you was explaining something over the weekend. Man, you was
Mm-hmm.
talking and we was talking about how you was trying to explain something to Pop. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna say this
Absolutely.
now live on the air
Yeah.
because next week when the new show comes, Pop will be another year older. So happy birthday to my dad, man. Let's go ahead, clap it up. Our dad,
Absolutely.
I'm
Happy
sorry.
birthday. Now,
You
good.
know what I
Happy
mean?
birthday, Pop.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
70. He was 71 years old. You know what I mean? So
Shout out to the
let's
OG, baby.
yeah. So but you were saying he had made the statement, oh, us old folks, man, we don't do this. And I said, listen, man, you know how to spell and you know how to use your phone.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
when they
come on.
act like they don't know how to use the internet, they know how to use the internet, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So my point is, I think with these jobs being remote and all that and stuff of that nature, it's going to keep people working longer at
Right.
different places. And they think about it. If you work there longer, you gotta get paid. You got paid like you weigh. And let's just really be honest. Your weight comes on when you pay like you weigh. Your weight gets heavier to the point where you're respected higher the longer you're at a job and the more successful you're at it, obviously over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
Mike can get his first big career until we realize, okay, this is Michael Jordan. He is the face of the basketball world. He should get 36 million for one season. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Back
Yeah,
then.
yeah, 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 for
So
sure.
when you become that player, they rather have they can get three people for the salary they're supposed to pay you. So I think
Oh, yeah.
sometimes financially they look at it as we can't make this comfortable for a person to want to be here forever. You know.
Okay, makes sense.
Right.
So pros and cons, right? Pros and cons because that's involved in everything. I think that when it comes to any of this stuff, it still comes down to
Ox, what up, Ox? You.
what's going on, my brother.
Hmm.
Peace. I think that it's still a situation where first and foremost, there's a shallow pool of different occupations that I think that actually could have stayed in that realm to some degree, or at least extended it, or made it part of the regular regimen of things. But then I think that other things that if you do, like if you had a job where you did a lot of field work, it'd be a little bit different. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because you probably continuously worked in the capacity that you did.
Right.
I think a lot of this stuff still comes down to, the individual. Like we was touched on in that conversation, E, you were saying that, a person who don't do work in person probably don't do work when they're in the institution or wherever they, actually go to work at.
Hmm.
Like most of those things don't change. And then you got some people who are honest, who will look at it from the perspective of as lovely as it sounds, in the grand scheme of all of it, it probably wouldn't be the most productive thing for them to do,
Right.
based on whatever the reasons are. The reason why I'm talking about it is because when we think about being in two places at once, most of the time that's how we actually think.
Right.
What environments am I going to be in to get the most out of it? Yeah, I
Right.
want to comfortably be over here, but
Hmm.
over here, I get to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So, I think it really comes down to a lot of things that, that saying two places at once is actually involved in a whole lot of the things that we deal with in life.
Right. Right.
And it comes down to, I think, once again, man, the person, the values, how they value their own time.
Yeah.
I think when you get to a certain place in your life, you realize the value of your time. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's a different situation. A lot of those decisions you thought was hard before ain't even difficult.
But I want to say this,
Absolutely.
not to change subject because you are the pilot of your time. I
Hmm.
want you to grab your phone right there, right, and look into your Instagram inbox and just take a look at this 30-second, 10-second video, all right, that I just sent you, and I just want people to see your face reaction of
I
this.
don't have my phone over here.
Okay, well, is your Instagram right there on your screen? Will it take you off if you click on it?
Nah, we good. Go ahead. So you want
Yeah,
me? What,
yeah. I want you to look at the video, and I want people to see your reaction of the dive live, right? And it's going to no, it's going to all come back around. P. It's not that
I ain't say that.
yeah,
I'm trying to look at it. I ain't say
right.
anything, bro.
Because I'm gonna bring it back and tie it back in. So what we talking about? We was talking about remote work. You was talking about even people who work in the field, and even people who work in the field.
Oh my.
Y'all seen it first with P face
Oh,
right there.
man.
Yo, two,
What's that? I'm looking right now. Here's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
What is one? And this is live. This is live feedback, y'all.
yeah.
And all right. So you know how when you for y'all who didn't see it, all right, I'm painting the picture. You
Right.
know how you jumping on the end of the diving board.
Yeah.
His legs blew out on the
On the
attempt
set.
to load up to jump again.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he came down and folded.
Yeah.
No, he didn't go back up again. Oh, that's crazy. Shout out, man.
And shout out to Ricky Rose.
Yeah,
My man said his tire. Nope, my tire blew out. Nope, I wasn't good. Like he kept it real. You see it, P.
said his knees went from every day I'm hustling to struggling.
Yeah, that's what they were saying, man. That's what they were saying. Every day I'm
Oh
struggling.
man.
They
Shout
said
out to Rick Ross, man. I hope
they
everything
said
be all right,
the
bro.
funniest ones I was seeing. They said, but she had them SWV knees, man. Weak.
Come on, man. Weak ass. Yeah. That was probably one of the times he was at another place at that particular
Guess
time.
what I'm saying? So
You know?
my point is, I just want you to understand something. So, see how we just talked about that,
Right.
and everybody's very aware of this form of technology. And I turned around and I sent that straight to you. Peace,
Right.
EQ. And I sent
Peace
that,
to the brother. Peace, peace.
and I
Yeah.
sent it straight to you, and you're able to see it, and you get that reaction. That's why I said I want your live reaction. So we touched on people working outside the field. We was talking about two places at one time. So just
Right.
like I send you that video instantly like that,
Absolutely.
it's the same way these people assignments and everything could be loaded for the outside.
You absolutely right.
You still don't need to show up at the building. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Correct.
It can come to the point where if you want to put some of the responsibility onto the person, like for example, bro, people who DoorDash, Uber Eats, drive Uber, do all that,
Yep.
they got to provide their own vehicle, correct?
Everybody in the gig economy. Yep. The gig
Yep.
economy. Yep.
So if they turned around and say, "Listen, I want you to make sure you repair it," I'm just using my job for a while. Go read these water meters.
Hmm.
We're going to assign you with this tablet and this equipment, but you got to have your own vehicle to get to your route. You must
Yeah.
clock in the morning. When you clock in at 7:45 in the morning, you must download your information or your assignment by 8 o'clock.
Yep.
You don't need to show up, and I'm telling you because the thing with me is I get along with everybody. You know my nickname, the mayor. I shout out to everybody. I talk to everybody. I'm cool. I'm a good person. I can interact with everybody clearly. But they all
Right.
in all actuality, you know, we there for business, and
Hmm.
those type of things help my workflow work so much better. I'm a big workflow type person. You see what I'm saying? If I
Right.
got less distractions, then I'm good. But
Hmm.
because I'm such a good person and I talk to everybody, I'm distracted at times at work because they want, listen, we need you over there, then we need you over here, we need you right here, we need you right here, and all that just tends not to work for me.
Right.
So I would love to go remote. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I
Yeah.
would love to be a remote employee. I can't tell you how if I would even retire or think about leaving working remote like that because I don't not enjoy what I do. I really enjoy what I do. It's
Hmm.
just I wish to just where I personally work at, you
Hmm.
know, technology would catch up. As a DJ, you know how many times I done been somewhere, bruh, in the middle of a show and somebody has something and they need something done and they like, I got it on my phone and they email it
Yeah.
to me right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You trying to tell me $1 million industries can't turn around and have that and make sure that people are working and all we got to do is make sure that equipment of communication is working?
Of course they do.
Right.
Of course they do. Yeah. Nah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think that, like
But
you said, it
not
depends on the person and the job. Go ahead. I'm
but the
listening.
bad but listen, the bad news is what? Time flies. But the good news is
You're the
you're a
pilot.
pilot. But when you have to physically be at a job on the other day, who's really the pilot?
See, that's what I'm saying. Right there. My man, I'm glad you brought it full
Who's
circle
really
like
the
you said
pilot?
you were going to.
I knew
At
I
that
was.
point, yeah, you know what I mean? No question. You said it.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't no liar or nothing. You know what I mean? So,
Nah. And my tire didn't
so
blow out. My tire didn't
yeah,
blow out like Rick Ross, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Hey, we here to do a deep dive, not like Ricky though. You know what I mean? So, but the reality of it is like you just said, bad news, the time flies. It all depends on how you look at it, right? I guess
Right.
the concept of it being bad news in that particular moment is that time is not something that you can control.
Nah.
So because you can't control it, it gets viewed as being like a bad situation. But on the reality of it, right on the surface, if you are the pilot, well, pilots go where they're supposed to go, right? And
Right.
this is why I wanted to make sure I explain the whole thing dealing with the places from a place perspective in a physical place, a destination or a location versus a place in where you are emotionally internally,
Right.
right? Like even dealing with the concept of dealing with a pilot. A pilot gets in the vehicle, plane, whatever he's doing, train, bus, whatever they're dealing with. More likely a plane. If they turn around and they got to get from A to B, they know the coordinates. They know how long it's going to take to get to the destination. But the one thing they cannot control is what goes on in between it.
Right.
Weather, all these different, they can predict as much as they possibly can. In that particular situation, when you are the pilot of something like that, what you learn to do, like we know all the time, is control the things that are in your reach,
Right.
control the things that are in your control. When we start thinking about places from that perspective, it's easy, right? It's a little bit clear. You know how to get to where you're going.
Right.
But when you try to, value or when you don't value your time, I think that you put yourself in certain situations where you look around and all of a sudden you're trying to figure out how to split the egg. You know what I mean? How to be able to be here and be there and how to do all of these things. When the reality of it is that's how I look at the situation about when it says the bad news is that time flies.
Right.
Because in most cases, because you can't control the time, like I can't control what time that starts over there and what time that ends. I can't control what day that they do that. I
Right.
can only control being the pilot. And that's why I think in that particular, statement about it being a situation bad news with flying flies, It's just to let you know that you don't control it.
And it all depends on perception. Because if
Right.
somebody turns around and feel like they flying when they go see that unicorn, you know, messing with that fairy dust and become that powder ranger, you know what I mean? Then they think they're flying. That's just how it goes. You know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
unicorn dust.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? Right.
Right there. Right there, yo. Right there.
What you talking about, bro? I'm looking right at you now. What are you talking about on the
Right.
side? You
Nothing.
like
Nothing. Nothing.
okay?
You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about if you ever are in a need of a full service event planning company that can take care of all of your, your party needs, your wedding needs, that retirement situation, whatever you got going on. We happen to know a company that can provide that service for you. Check them out. Listen, whether it's your first or your 50th birthday, that 25 years of service, if not more, retirement party, or the day that you and the love of your life share vows to become one, let Front and Center Events take care of all of your event planning needs. Sit back, put your feet up, and enjoy the show, where they truly keep you at the front and center of it all. Make sure to check out their Facebook and Instagram pages at FNC Events. Head on over today and get that party booked. Back to the show. Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
right. And listen, that's like putting it on autopilot
Yeah. Right.
because there's the
Right.
pilot. That's time. That's time consuming planning things. And if you don't know what you're doing, letting F and C events be the one to do it for you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Real
You
quick before
know.
we get too much deeper into the conversation, want to give another birthday shout out. The cuz Sandman, big 50 tomorrow, baby. You know what I mean? Big 50 tomorrow. The last night in your 40s, man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Half a buck tomorrow, baby. So
Yeah.
enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday,
Happy
cuz.
birthday, cuz. Yeah. Yeah.
So like you said, being in a situation where you're working from home or then you got to go inside of these places or whatever, now you give up the pilot control. And I think a lot of times what winds up happening is we get into these environments and we wish that we were someplace else.
Right.
I can't tell you, man. Right now, I'm having a conversation with somebody near and dear to me about their plans in life. And the thing about their plans is they, obviously like everybody else's plans, they take place in the future.
Right.
I kind of covered it today on Motivational Monday when I explained what I call the mirror effect. And the mirror effect is that, when you go inside of a department store, bruh, you can walk into your own house, wherever you are, no matter where you go, you're going to catch a mirror. And all of a sudden, you got to stop and look at yourself.
Red pill, blue pill.
You know what I'm saying?
The
Nope.
Matrix. No,
Yeah.
the other side of the mirror is the Matrix to me. I understand what you're
Oh,
saying.
got you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Red pill, blue pill. He said the other side is the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why I call situations, I'm talking about the mirror effect, is the mirror effect can only show you what you presently are at this present time,
That's it.
right? The difference between that, and that's why I talked about places being more than just a physical location, is that where we are in our mind and where we are in our reality is not always in the same place.
Mm-mm.
Even though we're physically in one place, sometimes, how many times you heard people say, what I mean, yeah, man, I'm here, man. I'm here, and my body here, but my mind ain't here.
For some of them people, that's drugs. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Some
For
of them,
some
right?
of them, that's drugs, B. That's not. That's
Right.
not being focused on time.
Yeah.
That's not. But for the ones for this story, for what we're trying to explain, those are the people
Yeah.
that they're there physically, but they're mentally not there because they ain't feeling the energy or the vibe, or that's just not that. That's not where that they plane to take them that day. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That's what we're saying because
What
they're
they
the
say
pilot of
inside
their
the
own
spot,
time,
eh? What
huh?
they say inside the spot sometimes is, yeah, they can do what, man? They can lock my mind. I mean,
Yeah,
they can trap my body, but they can't what?
they can't lock my mind. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
right. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
called being in two places. I'm telling you,
But
that's
in
it's
that
simple.
same spot that you're talking about, which is somebody being locked up, you will have somebody over there off that fairy dust and say, "I'm listen, baby, I'm good. Right now, you think I'm here, but I'm at Ray's Boom Boom."
Hey yo,
EQ,
right?
you see that
Yeah,
EQ?
yeah,
You see that,
yeah,
bruh?
yeah, man. He's coming clean, baby.
Yeah.
He's coming clean. Not that he be coming dirty, but he's coming clean, man. He's speaking his mind, man. He's letting it all out. Man, I like this, man. This is great, y'all. Y'all didn't realize Porch Podcast is E's outlet. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's just where he gets to live in his truth and release all the things that play in his mind all day. So let's
Yep.
talk about, like I said, once again, the mirror effect. Problem with the mirror effect is that you only see yourself when you presently are.
Right.
We always are talking about what the next thing we're going to do, man. I'm telling y'all, man, the barn, baby, I'm going to the next level, baby. And you always visualize yourself being someplace that you're not, clearly physically at.
Mm-hmm.
We do it all the time. We either live super far in the future or we can't get out of the past. No
Right.
matter what, we always occupy two places at one time.
Right.
You
But
know what I
I'm
mean?
gonna say it three, bruh. But it's three because we
Okay,
can't get out the past. We in the future and where we're presently at.
that's right.
It's really three places. What you said
Right.
before is three times, three something. You were saying, I forgot one of these episodes, man. Shout out to Big O. He got three sides to a story. EP coming out. You see what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
that's just how it is. But you said something, P. It's three dimensional. Something I don't remember what episode. One of them books you was reading, man. One of them, one of them books you
He
was.
sure is EQ. He's letting it out tonight, man.
Yeah,
He's letting it
listen,
out. Yeah.
listen. My point is, of what you're saying is, it's dangerous to stay in the past. I'm gonna just tell everybody that. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
if you ever notice, the majority of times the things we think about in the past is something that negatively impacted us. And I was just
Absolutely.
talking about there in therapy today. I was talking about this. However, I didn't talk about this part. The only time we actually hold up great memories about the past is when we lose somebody because we trying to
Absolutely.
remember it. So my thing is, you're supposed to look forward to the future, living
Mhm.
your truth in the present, and plan for the future. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It's just like when we talking about this remote work. In my opinion, like you asked, I just feel like it would. And this doesn't mean it'll work for everybody like that, but this will
Mhm.
help me better with my workflow. It's just like I tell you all the time, even when whether I'm making a beat, I'm DJing and all that. I like to do that off site somewhere else, because
Mhm.
it puts me in it's different things. It's like people don't realize that rappers back in the day. I remember Ray and Ghost. I forgot what country they went to, or they might have just went to Miami. But they went somewhere and encouraged them to do only built for Cuban links. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
when because they had to change environment. I talk about environment all the time. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? But if you
Absolutely.
but if you at your work site and it's cold in there, but you can't turn off the air because it's gonna make everybody else hot.
Mhm.
You're not thinking straight. Or if it's too hot in there and you can't cut the AC on and it's cold, so you go outside just to get a breath of fresh air. They said you was on your 15-minute break for 16 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When
Yeah. I
you
know. I know
if you
exactly.
pay attention, the reason why people be more productive on a remote schedule is because they're creating their workflow through their environment.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
how it is.
Sure.
They might have
Sure.
some jazz playing, but they can't play the music because they're in a cubicle at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, bro, your workflow, every time you do what you do with your motivational Mondays and all that type of stuff, and if I'm on the phone with you and you editing, you got jazz playing in the back, you got to do that. But if you were in an office, in an environment with a bunch of people, with 30, 40 other people, you can't do that.
Right.
And let's just be honest, it don't hit the same in your headphones.
Nah. Nah.
It
Nah.
don't.
Nah.
And I'm
You're
just
right.
use,
No,
I'm
no.
just using that for an example. So,
No.
in order to get the best productivity from people, sometimes
Mhm.
I just say create the option. And stop having jobs need to stop having this lack of trust. If they break your trust or they mess up,
Mhm.
then explain to them, well, listen, we need you to come in if you want to keep your job. However, don't look for them to fail because you're that far from it. Because you got to remember, at the end of the day, everybody that's in control of this, because we have dominion over everything, is still human beings.
That's right.
So if you got a human that's not like I like to say, to think with the parachute effect and had an open mind to really see that, okay, E might work better remotely, P might work better in the office. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You
Mhm.
know, John might work better as a hybrid. You know,
Right.
but
Right.
that's just what. No. Everybody come here so I can see your face. Shut up, man.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on, man. We in
Yeah.
a different
Steve did say
time.
that when he did it. When he created the let it loose, let the juice loose
Let the
foundation.
when Steven created the Let the Juice Loose
Now he
Foundation,
definitely
P.
was home. He was
Guess
home at that.
no, P. He was either home or he was at the massage parlor, letting the juice loose as he was creating it, man.
Don't do that, E, because Steve, you don't know if Steve
Or
is
he
like
was at the pool and there was a lot of fairy and unicorn dust around, man. I'm telling you, man.
I'm not keeping count of how many times you brought it up tonight, but it's just a little bit more prevalent than usual. Seems like it's a lot on your mind right now, you know.
No, it's not. It's
Um,
not. It's not on my mind. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
no, I understand
Saying.
what you're saying. You just
I
saying you're
just know.
saying
I'm just
where,
speaking on
where
not from personal experience, but what
right.
whenever I known somebody, basically have an out of body experience when you said they're physically here, but their mind's not there.
Two places at once,
Two
man.
places at once. That was cocaine. That ain't even fairy dust. That's what that was.
You know, it's funny because in order to talk about two places at once, you definitely got to talk about being in the right place at the wrong time.
Right.
I think it has to happen, right? But
Right.
then, you know what? I'll say this, even to piggyback off of that, it only seems like the wrong time when it's not the outcome that you think it's supposed to be at that moment.
Right.
But I can't tell you, when it's a situation, this is the part that always been funny to me. People always make that statement about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But when you look up and everything comes to a conclusion and it was the perfect outcome or the right outcome,
You say you was at the right place.
you go now all of a sudden it was all worth it.
Yup. Because here's the thing, Pete. This is
Crazy,
what I'm
man.
saying. This is why you have to have an open mind. Because if you let's just say, for example, I was convincing the higher ups to allow our staff to work remotely,
Right.
and we started. They're looking for the first problem.
Exactly.
Instead of
Not,
turning
not
around
the
and
benefit, not the
instead of
benefit from it. Right.
right, if they're against it, they're looking at the first problem instead of saying, "Okay, it's just some kinks we got to work out."
Right.
They'll flat out say, "See, this why we ain't supposed to do it. Everybody report immediately tomorrow." And then they get you in the
I
office and they
wouldn't
talk
talk to
to you.
anybody who sound like that. You shouldn't talk to them.
Right, bro. That's how
Yeah.
they gonna come. And then what happens? What happens? You got a
Problem.
person. You got a person like me who shows up.
Right.
And when I show up, right? Once I now show up and I come in and that person that was talking like that hit me with the everybody report immediately tomorrow. I'm like, man, who you was talking to? That's the
Right.
first thing I'm saying.
Right. Right.
Like, what works right the first time, P?
I don't nothing.
That's
Generally.
that's it's a reason why there was never a team in basketball that went 82-0.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because everything ain't gonna click all the time.
Absolutely.
Well,
No,
how
no, no,
many
no.
times? How many times have you seen a team? Okay, I'm gonna go, because you know I always relate to sports. But you think of Big Ben Roethlisberger, right? Okay, I don't know what you whistling for, man.
You,
What the fuck is going
you'll
on?
never know, man.
I mean,
I didn't know which Ben you was talking about. I knew he was huge though. He was
yeah.
like big. And I was like, wow, how big is this Ben? This big guy. Like, go
I
ahead, go listen.
could have been talking about Uncle Ben, the one that made the rice and shit. You know what I
Good.
mean? But
You're good. You
Big
mentioned three
Ben,
of them.
Big Ben Roethlisberger, right?
Hmm.
All right,
Okay.
his first season.
Okay.
You know he came out very first game and lost. So his first game of the season, he was 0-1, right? Rookie quarterback. Then he went 15-1. Now he was the guy. He was the man.
Hmm.
All he did was correct whatever that first mistake was. Now he didn't win the bowl,
Right.
but they didn't give up on him on that first mistake. But these jobs, because if they don't want something to be a certain way, nope. See, it ain't connecting. That's it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Nah, I agree with you. I think
That's
that you
all.
hit the nail on the head when you made the statement that they're looking more for why it should
won't
be
work.
going on or
Right.
won't work or the
Yeah.
negative than the positive.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that unfortunately, what winds up happening is because we're so locked into the same ways of doing things. It's hard for you to be able to look at other alternatives. Everything that comes into play that's a good idea doesn't necessarily have to replace the thing that exists.
Right.
Sometimes it's just another tool in the toolbox.
That's
And
it.
I think that's the problem that sometimes
That's it.
people are so adamant about adding a tool out of fear that it's going to eliminate the current tool that they're using.
And that's the thing. You can have more than one tool. You don't got
Yeah,
the average person. The average person don't have one TV at the house.
That's right. That's
The
right.
average. Remember back in the day, you had one device that had the internet on it in your house.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How
Because you
many
couldn't
you
be on
got?
the phone at the same time.
Right. You only had your PC, that
That's
computer,
it.
that desktop.
That's
Now
right.
people got their phones, their tablets, they laptops, they
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
Because and they all tools and everything matters. Let you go in one of your rooms right now, P, and if you're streaming TV on that, and it could be the oldest device you have,
That's
Fire
right.
Stick or Roku, whatever, and it ain't working. You gonna be like, what the fuck's going? You gonna have an attitude about it.
It's a problem. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a problem.
somebody's gonna need to explain this to me. And
And
I'm
then,
gonna say this: we live in a time period now, like
right,
just piggybacking off of what you're saying, dealing with streaming services and everything.
right.
Life is now built on how to be in multiple places at one time.
That's what I'm trying to explain. They
That's
don't
right.
understand they can get more out of a person by
That's right.
having them work remotely.
Absolutely. No
I'm telling you,
question.
you can get so much more out of the person, and it's again, it's just not common. It's a COVID, bro, for certain companies to understand and say, "Hey, yo, this is more beneficial."
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Mark, what's up,
Absolutely.
Cuzzo? What's up, Mark?
Mark, peace, cuz. What's up,
Yeah.
family? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. I mean, you gotta think about it. To me, I see a lot of pros in it. I
Me
don't see the
too.
kind. But here's the other side that I see. Inevitably, when you're dealing with any kind of business, it's always about what's the next thing that's going to develop it and make, production better. If you can look at something and see how to add it to the equation and make it better, why not?
Right.
You know what I mean? If I got to be logged on at 8 o'clock, short of me having anything wrong with my internet service, what is my excuse for not being up and being logged in?
Right.
You know what I
So
mean? There's no traffic. What traffic am I going to,
right.
encounter between, you know, my nightstand if I got my laptop right there in the bed, whether I get up or not?
P, do you know how many meetings that I do outside of the job? Right. They're
No,
team
that's
meetings.
how
Right.
many?
Team. No, I'm saying
Oh, you
team
said
meetings.
team
Right.
meetings. That's what you said.
Right.
Wow.
So they're team meetings. Right. You know how many times with team meetings I gotta go in someone else's office to attend the meeting because the way my desk is set up,
Hmm.
if I'm on the floor with everybody else, if my
Hmm.
mic is not muted, it's disrupting the meeting. So I have to
Absolutely.
go into someone else's office to do that. You know how many
Yeah.
times I done walked outside and took my work cell phone and logged in while sitting in my vehicle? Not my vehicle, but the city's vehicle, the
I
work
got you.
vehicle. Not moving,
Absolutely.
not driving, of course, not breaking any rules, but that's just a quiet place that I can go to have this meeting. And you know how many people else that's mainly that's in that meeting, they're traveling or they're moving, but they're not missing a beat. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm
And
saying.
it's because they're doing what they need to do. It's still being captured and still being handled. If we had to turn around and had everybody physically meet in person at the same time, then that
Right.
meeting may not never happen.
Nah.
It may
Nah.
not never happen because
Nah.
it may just not be. It just may not be the time may not be conducive enough for everybody to do that. And really, it's because people are out of state here and that. Who gonna fly to Texas or they gonna fly to New Jersey so we can sit down and talk and do all this? My point is, you will get a better, in my opinion, a better form of work from people because their responsibility is to create the most comfortable workflow and
Hmm.
environment for themselves to get their stuff done. Now, here's a lot of things. I've seen this with mothers, I've seen this with fathers. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm having a bad day. I got to deal with this with the kids and all that. Now, let's just say if you didn't work remotely, then the
Hmm.
kids, then the kids wouldn't be right, Ray. Yeah, I ain't breaking no rules, bruh. You know what I mean? so,
So
so
true.
yeah, so you know what I mean? My point is, you would have to sit and come in. That person will have to come in because
Yeah. No
people
question.
ain't just start having kids when remote jobs happen. You
Right.
had to turn around and you had to have somebody, you had child care for them to watch that. But for some people, it would just work so much better. This is how it is. In my opinion, I think it'll work great for me. Like I said.
Nah, I think well, first off, once again, I look at life from once you start to create other tools that can make productivity better, why are we hanging on? And we do this in a lot of different things. A
Mhm.
lot of different things. We hang on to certain things. Like look at the things that changed. Even I know it seemed like kind of bouncing all over the place with this concept, but even with motor vehicles, man, I can remember some of the things that you had to go and kind of do in person now that they kind of helped you out and let you do. Now you can do online.
Right.
And my thing is it's not always we should be able to see the benefit in it, right? Like once again, being multiple places at once. One of the key things that you'll look up and you'll see a person doing right now that we use all the time on social media, like we're using right now, is being live.
Right.
Everybody that we're actually talking to right now, we're in one place, but we're in multiple places in the sense that we're reaching out to different people.
Right.
Life is built on that. It's not
Yeah.
one dimensional, it's multidimensional.
Right.
Yet we'll continuously kind of try to operate from one specific space. And I
And I
just
call
think that we need to get better at that, in general.
and I think it's because whoever's in charge is their favorite space, either their favorite space or they don't want to take the time out to really learn the pros and cons of the situations. They want it to be the comfortable thing because now the question is, for some of them, if we allow this, what are you going to do? Because you ain't who you going to be around? Who you got to look over and micromanage? You still have a job because now you got to learn how to look at the system and say, well, such and such is not being productive working remotely. When they worked in the building, they got this done. But when they work remotely, they're only getting this done.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's just what it is. But I don't mean that a person works for it could be full. I always say everything needs a trial, man. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Just like the example I used with Big Ben. He started off 0-1 and he went 15-1. No, he didn't win the Super Bowl that year. But I'm sure if he would have started off 0-4, they would have been like, we gotta bring the backup in. See what he can do. Maybe the new guy's not ready yet.
Yeah. And
It's
I think
called
that
adjusting, man. It's adjustments.
it's
We always say
adjustment.
you never lose. It's a lesson. That's all.
Right. And when it comes to time, right, and we're talking about two places at once, we're
Right.
talking about time. Look at the things that have evolved that has helped us so many ways, right? Like you can go and get a degree now and not have to physically go to a school.
Yeah.
You can
Keep
actually go and get,
keep talking to
certification
him, man. Keep
and
talking to
never
him.
have to go to a school. You look at the things that we have gained by actually going through different adjustments, right? And so when you think about the situation from two places at once, I think that what we got to remember is that like we honest to God live in a world where there are things that are always going on. So the more that I could possibly do at one time is to the benefit of more than one group of people or one situation at one time. And I think that we live in a place and time now where we got to stop resisting against these type of situations. We got to learn to evolve. We got to grow. We got to get better. We got to understand that there are other options that are available to us, and we got to get out of the primitive thinking of thinking that we can only do the same thing or one thing at one time in one place.
Right.
And that's the main thing, man. So that's just where I'm at with the whole situation dealing with, trying to look at the benefit of it. Like I said, even down to learning. I had a conversation with Lincoln. We were talking about, what I mean, part of her high school situation, bro, where, they were actually, remote. They were home.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain things that they missed. There's certain social things that they missed. There's certain things that, not being in school, to be around people, to learn different things. It was a lot of different things like that going on. And when you take people and you can't keep them in the same place, or you can't allow them to be in different places but still come together collectively, I just think it throws things out of whack. So I think it's more pros than cons in that situation we was talking about with working from home. I do think I agree with you do. It is a case by case, person by person situation, but
Right.
I think it is very beneficial. Um, if you want to get into some questions,
Yeah.
I
We
think
can do
we're going
that.
to do some. I guess this is more of a this or that. We're
Okay.
gonna,
Whatever you. If you want to change it
yeah.
in the middle, you change in the middle. Let's
No, no,
go.
no. It's not about it. I got the questions. We good.
Welcome to another episode of Would You Do This or That? That's what we're going to call it today. So, would you rather it to be this or that, or whatever you rather it for it to be? Because listen, it's DJ E and P Original. We here. Let's go. I don't even care.
Like he said, man, welcome to another episode of, in this case, this or that, where I ask him a couple of questions. We're going to get busy and do what we do.
Yes, sir.
All right. Going on a team building event somewhere away or staying in the office?
You said a team building event.
Yep, yep. You and your colleagues.
Yeah, I like. I would say. I say a way. I think that sometimes you got it's bro. I'm such a big person on atmosphere that um it's not always about making you comfortable, but sometimes we got to become uncomfortable to get the best out of ourselves. It's like doing a workout. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You
Absolutely.
know, and I'm not saying that I want us to go somewhere to be somewhere uncomfortable. I'm not saying we can't go nowhere and be comfortable, but I do think if we're not looking at the same things all the time, I know for me it helps my creative process because it's like, why are we here again? Oh, to get this right, to work on
Hmm.
this. You know what I'm saying? That's all I need sometimes. So I say away.
I agree. I think sometimes the environment brings new environments bring new ideas, concepts,
Absolutely. Yep.
and it takes you out of the place where you deal with most of the stressors or the challenges, and it
Right.
takes you into a more, I guess, neutral environment that usually breeds better creativity. So I
Right.
agree with you somewhere away. Um, Organize a team building activity or just taking part in one.
Um, both. You know. Um, I would love to organize first to start it off, right? To kind of give, because me being a supervisor, I'm just using my life for an example.
Hmm.
Organize one, or if leader of anything, to just to organize one to give a person an understanding of maybe what we're looking for. Um,
Hmm.
but I think that people, because they didn't have certain titles in my working world and career, that they didn't let them certain people have voices that may have a great idea. So I will organize the first one, but I will, if anybody was ready to do the next one, I will allow them to do it and fully organize. And if they needed any assistance from me, then they would get it. But so it's both for me. I would probably do the first one just to give them an example, to just to force, to be the icebreaker.
Hmm.
But I don't have to do them all because we can all learn from each other. It's about building team. So I could
Hmm.
be missing something that's not helping me
Yeah,
build the team.
absolutely, no question. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the exact same way in terms of like just the benefit of setting the example by being a person who kind of spearheads and organizes it, but also showing that I can take a role as support. I think that if you do that, then most people will turn around and they will benefit from your ability to be flexible in that situation. And I think everybody kind of takes the initiative a little bit more then, and it don't fall all on one person. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
great thing as well. I think this is a no-brainer, but it depends. Some people are a little bit different. Having a very loud colleague next to you in the office or an extremely quiet one.
I got both. That's what's funny.
I was going to say I've probably been both. No,
Yeah.
no, I've never been the
Oh,
quiet one.
I'm both of them.
Yeah, I've
I've
never
been
been.
both of them.
I ain't never been extremely quiet. When I
And
say
the
loud,
and the problem when I'm extremely quiet, everybody thinks something wrong. No, I'm focused. They want me to get up and say something crazy. You know what I mean? But I have one that's very loud that sits next to me every day. And I laugh. We laugh hard as shit because a lot of times the things he's saying, I need to hear them because they keep my day going. They funny.
yeah, I think that I'm the same way, man. I'm. How can I say? I think I'm just loud by nature.
Me too.
First and foremost.
I know I am.
If you loud and obnoxious, I think that's different. And some people look at it like just being loud is obnoxious. I
That's
guess
a
it all
quiet
depends.
person. That's a lot of quiet people feel that way.
Yeah, I just think that it all depends on the person that you next to. I mean, if y'all both loud, then it ain't bothering nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
it's funny because I've been accused of, let's say for example, I've been accused of being loud, but then sometimes I'm accused of person not understanding what I'm saying because it sounds like I'm mumbling. So it's like, which side of the powder did you wake up on today? Is the
No,
question.
come on.
That's what it
All right,
is.
never mind. Yeah,
Not me, them. You know, because some of it messes with their ears.
I know.
Like Will Ferrell said, "How about I box your ears?"
Yeah, I lost count of the powder concepts. I mean, conversation today.
No, it's not really. It wasn't about that. P. It wasn't about the powder. It was
You're right.
no.
It's kind of came up. So I'm just dealing with a challenging client or a challenging colleague.
Clients not hard. That's challenging. Is not hard to deal with. because it's a lot of times the client is that's either going to make your relationship or break your relationship, right? But when you dealing with a colleague, you ain't gonna let them run you off that job. You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely.
That's me anyway. So we would have to have a and I had to have these conversations several times with I've been somewhere almost 23 years. So I had to have these conversations several times with a person like it ain't got to be like this, yo, or it's not gonna be like this. You know what I mean? We got to work together. It's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be. But with a client, I've always calmed them down and say, listen, we discussed this and this is what you said, but now you're telling me you want this. I can adapt to that, but I'm just making sure you remember what we discussed, and then it kind of smooths out every time. And anytime I've had a challenging client, it's funny because I've been rebooked or rehired. But I'm using the DJ world as clients. You get what I'm saying?
No. As you should. Yeah, no. I
Right.
think that even with the situation with clients, once again, one of them I'm going to deal with, and I have a specific job to deal with in terms of a client. If I can solve whatever the issue is, whatever the case may be, then I already got certain parameters that I have to stay in.
Right.
To help that situation go the way it needs to go. Both settings, both situations, you got to be a professional, a colleague. If we're gonna be somewhere together, I think that we need to establish some boundaries, right? We
Right.
need to establish some things. I don't
Right.
have to do that with a client. Honestly speaking, I could probably pass that person on to somebody else who may
Right.
have a better outcome with that person. With a
Mm-hmm.
colleague, I'm gonna let he or she that, these are my standards. This is where I'm at with it, and hopefully we can find a way to find a mutual space. But
Yeah,
other
we
than
can
that,
find that. We can find a happy medium. That's it.
yeah, I don't think that it's anywhere near the same thing. Kind of switching it up a little bit. But would you rather, and this is more just a partner. When I say partner, you can look at it in any capacity you like.
Mm-hmm.
But a partner who earns well but struggles to maintain a healthy life work balance, or a partner who earns poorly but has a great life work balance.
I've felt like both of them before. Well, nah, not completely. And the reason why I say not completely is because I've never felt like I've earned poorly. Poorly, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I may have found that personally because I've had too much going on. I'm just being completely open with the situation. As far as finding that balance of earning well and family time and basically do all that, I think I do a much better job at that now than I've ever done in life. You know, and you just have to
Hmm.
start making the decision and the choice and the sacrifice of, it's not that what's important, but you got to realize that what you got to miss. You know,
Yeah.
because that's something that you can't do remotely
Right. Right.
unless you're earning remotely. You shouldn't be doing remote, family time with the people that you live in the house with. You could do it throughout the whole day, but you still have to get with them.
No,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. No,
That's
I
all.
agree.
Yep.
Keeping it right there, but also like I said, we've been dealing with these work questions, man. You know, would you rather receive a call from work in the middle of the night or right after you wake up in the morning?
Right after I wake up in the morning,
Okay.
because if my a lot of times my sleep breaks and it's the same. Say it's the same call,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm assuming it's a call that's going to be some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather the bullshit happen when I got to get up anyway. Yeah, it's not cool to wake right up to some bullshit. It's really not.
Whether it's late night or early night.
Right. But if you're awakened by it,
Right.
and now you can't get back to sleep, or you got to get you now you just being inconvenienced earlier, in my
Absolutely.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's ever a perfect time for any kind of troubling news, but I would definitely have to go with the morning. Because, like you said, if you can wake me up in the middle of the night, unless I'm coming in to actually try to solve this issue, if it's a call, but like, don't worry about it, just deal with it in the morning. You almost want to say, why you ain't just call me in the morning, man?
Right.
Why call me at night to have me think about it now and be tired in the morning because I had to deal with thinking about it all night? Would you rather, right? Or this or that. All right. Receiving lengthy emails or long calls at work.
Uh, I'm gonna go with the call. Because I could respond instantly to you right there. They both had their pros and cons.
Right.
Now, that long email
Right.
is a paper trail, but that long email you send me might be responded with me with 2 letters.
Yeah. Oh
O-
wow.
okay.
Yeah. Oh
That's
wow.
it.
I was
it.
thinking totally different.
Yeah. You said
Yeah.
2 words. I said 2 letters.
I
Okay.
I still was thinking 2 letters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. F you.
Oh,
Depending on
nah,
you.
nah, nah, nah. I ain't gonna never put that in the email. Just,
You sure?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just acknowledging that I see what you wrote. And then guess what I'm gonna do?
I mean, that might stand for fully understanding. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
it might. But guess what's gonna happen after that? I'm gonna fully call you and have that lengthy conversation and say, listen, I ain't want to write this through the email. I want you to hear my voice.
yeah,
Don't you
yeah,
ever in your life come at me like that again, yo.
yeah. Fully understand, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Don't. All a person can do is return back fire, my brother. However you interpret that is up to you. But unless I said that to you, like the lady say, don't come for me, brother, if I ain't called for you.
That's right.
You know,
Cause I ain't
so
sent for you. You
yeah,
send me. You
yeah, yeah.
send me.
Yeah, I gotta get out of that. You know what I mean? Let's just like hold on. We ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Let's do this. I think it's a little hood, man. You might feel differently. Your manager texting you on social media or sending you direct text messages, like a regular text message.
Mm-hmm.
Which one, brother? Your manager texting you on social media or sending you text messages through the regular text message, like, text messages.
Uh,
Yeah.
Regular text. I ain't over
Yeah.
social media ain't.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I
No
mean?
brainer. No brainer. I had to ask you, you know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes people, that's what they into, man.
Right? Yeah. It's whatever you into, man.
Last one, you already kind of answered it, but we'll just go ahead and entertain it because it was part of the questions. I don't know what the subject matter is. Let's say I'm gonna create the subject matter, and that may determine your answer. Um, Major project that affects hundreds of thousands of people.
I've worked on those.
Right. In-person meetings or virtual meetings, because it's gonna be more than one.
Virtual.
Okay.
Because I think if you waiting for in person, it's gonna be it's gonna take to get all of them. It's gonna miss a lot.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right.
That's why I say that's why I say virtual.
It all leads back to the same thing, man, as we bring closure to that particular round of those questions. But it all brings back to the same situation. If you have an additional tool, why not use it when it is much, in my opinion, much more suitable for a quick response, number one. And on top of that, it actually is the more feasible play to make. That's what I got, man. So I'm gonna go with virtual meetings as well. E, you can take us out of that round, brother.
Hmm. Look at my face. Look at my face. Look at my face. Yeah, let's bring it back. So that was another episode of we did this or that. You know what I mean? This has been episode 131, and we called this one. Okay, what is going on right here? Okay, I see what's going on. The Porch Podcast. Oh, listen, I'm sorry. Two places at once. I had got a message up here. A little air drink. So listen, it's your boy DJ E, Mr. Influential, man. Like we say, man, this is the Porch Podcast where we focus on health, wealth, and anything else that you want to talk about. You know what I mean? You can find us and hear us on all your favorite podcasting listening sites like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. What other ones? Google
Stitcher,
Podcasts, Stitcher,
Stitcher,
um,
Overcast Radio.
Overcast Radio, Audible, iHeartRadio,
Absolutely.
and
You
where
said
else you hear them at?
you said Spotify and Amazon Music
All
and all
right,
those things,
an
right?
Apple Podcast. Yeah.
And Apple Podcasts, absolutely. And like E says, or like we say each and every week, you can definitely see our faces. You know what I mean? Anywhere between Monday and Tuesday. More
Right.
often than not, it will be Tuesday, somewhere between 7 and 8. You can catch us live right here on Facebook. For those listening to Radio Land, like I said, or if you don't follow us on Facebook, make sure you do that. Number one. Make sure you follow us on all our other social media platforms. He is showing y'all all the time, the Porch Podcast right there on Instagram and Porch Podcast, the Porch Brothers on Facebook. Make sure y'all check us out. As we say,
Mm-hmm.
you can also catch us 7 p.m., what we call a replay, right there on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is the Porch Podcast.
Right.
Make sure you check us out there as well. Like I said, it usually premieres the follow up from this one right here or the replay from this one right here every Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
As we say each and every week, please tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when all of the content and all of the shows are dropping. This has
Right.
been episode number 131. Two places at once, and we appreciate y'all being in this place at this time.
And
Appreciate
y'all make sure y'all enjoy y'all fourths, man.
it. Hey, man, that's it. Happy 4th of July, Independence Day, you guys. Make sure you enjoy it. Hey, man, be safe out there. We look forward to seeing y'all next week. Hey, one more time, Pop, happy birthday. Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday
son.
to that. Yeah, listen, man. Let's go ahead and clap it up for the OG of the OGs.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Hey, we'll see y'all next week, family. Y'all be
All right,
good.
y'all.
Peace, man.
Peace.